Good morning. I am the Moon Mama. Happy Friday. Today is Friday, and Friday is a day governed by Venus. So I have my beautiful love quartz here, rose quartz. Um, Venus is the planet that governs our ability to restore ourselves, how we connect to others, how we make money, and art, music, dance. Venus governs Taurus and Libra, and Taurus is food and sensuality, our taste, our touch, our seeing, our feelings. Venus is it's like how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about the world around us, how we feel about those we're connected to, and how we feel is usually generated early from 0 to 7 with how we are taught to feel about ourselves and our family structure. And it's a really fascinating thing because Gemini governs our siblings, our early childhood relationships. So a lot of that is up right now. The way we often learn to relate to others is through our practice with our siblings. And if you don't have siblings, then that's information, because if you're an only child, I know I was an only child, and people talk about, only children, like how they are spoiled, or, they don't know how to share and things like that. And so this Venus retrograde, which is going on right now, is an opportunity for us to really take a dig into how we relate, how we came to understand our relational patterns, how we came to get our needs met, how we came to understand how we can restore ourselves. How is how is it working in your life now as an adult? One of the other things about Venus retrograde is relating is also about the bigger picture. Like, how do you relate in this country? I know when I was a child growing up, I believed that being a Black woman was a horrible thing to be. I believed that I wasn't going to be able to have happiness, that I was going to struggle, that I was going to be filled with depression and despair in relationship to this country. So one of the things that we really want to look at during this Venus retrograde is the opportunity to change our ideas about our power and how we are connected to everything, the way we think about it, the way we feel about it. What do you feel? Because it's like your relationship with yourself. Ultimately, Venus is about your relationship with yourself. And so I encourage you, if you've not signed up for the Venus retrograde course, to sign up, because this is a fantastic time. We're going to have Venus retrograde. Mercury's going retrograde, I believe, on June 21st, and Mercury's going to be in Cancer. So this next 3-month period through the summer is going to be an awesome exercise in transforming your heart and your mind. And I think about us, because of astrology, I think about us as we have software. The way we think is our software. It's the system that runs us. The way we feel is our operating system that generates our lives, right? So now when there are retrogrades in place, we have an opportunity. Retrograde just means it's time to review, renew, revisit, revitalize, reframe. And so we want to do that while the planet is also doing it. While Venus is in retrograde, you want to get on her bandwagon so that energy that she's doing is functioning in your psyche as well, so that you can learn, so that you can get new ideas about how to approach old experiences, old ways of being. And maybe those old ways of beings are going to just die out and just become no more. And so you want to get new ideas about new experiences. I know that I'm really shifting my reality right now around how I relate to absolutely everything. I think I told you guys that I had a session the other day with a friend of mine who does constellation work. And in this session, I remembered when I was a very little girl. I've said it so many times, I hope I'm not being redundant. But when I was a very little girl, a neighbor of mine had a litter of puppies. And I wanted one of these puppies so bad. Like in this moment, I can close my eyes and have a memory of this dog. It was like a collie type of dog nursing these puppies, and my heart just opening up. And I wanted one. I wanted to connect to one of these puppies. And I went home to my grandma and I was like, Grandma, can I have a puppy? And she said no. And my grandmother always said yes to me, but she said no to me. This is one of the few times I remember my grandmother saying no to me. I don't know if I remember it. My grandmother said yes to everything. Like, my grandmother actually bought me a Honda moped when I was like 12 years old. The police used to escort me home and tell my grandmother, ma'am, she's not old enough to drive this thing without a license. She's in violation of the law. And my grandmother said yes to everything, but she said no to this puppy. And I remembered that desire stayed with me. And when I went to school in 7th grade, I transferred that yearning for that puppy to this relationship with this friend who I was then in a relationship with for 40 years. And that relationship was created from a space of me yearning for like a mother, yearning to be profoundly bonded with something. So it's not serving me any longer. It doesn't work any longer the way it was structured. And so I saw that in this session, that me as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old girl created a bond that doesn't work as a 50-year-old woman. And so I get to now see that clearly. And now I can take that energy that wants to be really bonded with something that is working for me now, with my work, with my service to the world, that allows me to allow my energy to flow in a way that is beneficial to me. And so I'm encouraging you all to look in your lives, look at your relationships. Are you someone who's never really experienced the love that you really know you're capable of, that you desire? It's because your relationship structures are created in the wrong way. Are you someone who just it gives all and doesn't know how to say no, and allows yourself to be sort of a doormat for others? That's because you are doing relating in the wrong way. Are you someone who is in a long-term relationship and you just aren't really getting your needs met? It's because you have an expectation that relationships are to meet all your needs, and they're not. So I encourage you, please register for this Venus retrograde course. Share this video with your friends. Get everyone you know to register, because this is an incredible time to be alive, for us to get our power back so that we can use it to be and do what we truly desire, and in ways that are fulfilling and magical and validating and affirming to who we are. And the first thing you have to do is accept where you are, who you are, love yourself, and then that love and acceptance will lead you into a new way of being. And I want you to know, this work, I've been doing this work for 20 years. I've done a lot of work to get here. This is not an intellectual practice. It might sound easy, and it is on some level, but it's something that you really do have to do work around. It won't go away just because you just think it away. You have to embody this work. And so I encourage you to either sign up for a reading with me, do something, or sign up with other people. Like, just do the work to get yourself free from the old constructs and patterns that have you not using your power and energy in a way that really serves you. Finally, the moon is in Pisces today, and Pisces is our collective consciousness. It's this thing we're experiencing together. So the energy is very empathic today. You might be feeling other people's stuff. You might be feeling a lot of emotions. Your feelings might be going back and forth, and all, because Venus is in retrograde and all of that. But that's okay. Just trust the process, trust the experience, and allow yourself to feel. Just feel what you feel. Trust it. It's all good. It's all good. We're experiencing a lot in our country. Our world is never going to be the same. I went outside the other day and I was like, wow, this is different. We're in a new world reality. So allow yourself to feel, to grieve, Because when it's time, you'll know, and you'll rebirth. You will come back to life in a new way. And I don't know. I just know one thing. I'm so happy. I feel better than I've ever felt in my entire life. I feel freer than I've ever felt in my entire life. And I feel more in purpose than I've ever felt in my entire life. If you want to join the Venus Retrograde course, Karamu Kush will be joining me this evening for a live class on how to relate, how to do relationships in a new world. We're also going to be talking about, I think it's very important that we begin to create a new relationship with our country, right? With our systems and our government, so that we can become sovereign and self-governing. It's very important right now that we become self-governing. And this Venus Retrograde course can help you look at all of your relationships, all the ways you relate, so that you can get your power back and begin to be self-governing, understand who you are, what you're capable of, and be who you're here to be. And not be subject to systems and people and choices that are not yours. And understand how you have linked yourself into ways of being that don't really serve you. So I encourage you to join. And Karamu is just incredible. Like, he's just an incredible, amazing, beautiful man who, I don't have that much more to say about that, but he has a lot to offer, and he's a professor and a teacher, a filmmaker, so he really has a perspective that is valuable. All right, you all, this is my lapis lazuli. For those of you who have joined the 13 moons, thank you. We're going to be working with lapis lazuli this month for the Sagittarius full moon, and this is my rose quartz. And this is for Venus retrograde. And anyway, I hope you all are feeling really great. I love you so much. And that's it. I don't have nothing else. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.